Right, I'm just gonna ask everybody to confirm the because I know somebody wanted to keep an issue with somebody last week. Oh, looks like
And he would go.
I think it was talking about really far.
I didn't forget.
And then I looked up. I think so. That way, I had to swing in the final one. You ready to go? Calling the meeting to order at 5:32. Would you please rise and join me for the pledge of allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And just so folks know, Kim is online with us tonight.
Kim, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I'm all set. Thanks, guys.
Okay, before we really get going, I just wanted, I think probably most people know at this point, what the breaking news is Dwayne Good has made the decision to pull the White's Island proposal from consideration for this June warrant. The proposal will likely be brought back in advance of the November warrant, but this will allow for time for the proposal to have updated costs, particularly around the railroad crossing, and allow for multiple opportunities for public input. He did say that he'd like to do several open meetings in the coming months so that the public can give their input. Therefore, we do not anticipate White's Island as a discussion item tonight. So just want to make sure everybody was on the same page with that, and please, I know there are lots of folks interested in it, so please write down your thoughts if you need to, but you'll have an opportunity over multiple meetings for new plans. So.
Thank you.
All right. So on to our general unfinished business, budget discussions on capital improvement projects. And I wonder, Dennis, if you, what?
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you want to present to us the information about the new spreadsheet updates from today.
I will. Kim, did we email, I didn't know you weren't gonna be here tonight. Did you get the stuff?
I did. I got the email about the new capital with the giant spreadsheet you sent out, I don't know, an hour and a half ago.
Okay, but you didn't get a copy of the draft warrant then?
No.
Okay, I'll make sure that Kathy does that right now.
Sorry, guys. I have a school board at 6:30. I have to be here.
Keep in mind now about.
Oh, yes, I apologize. Well, no, we can do it at the end.
Does anybody mind if I open a window?
Put the back windows. I think she might be indisposed, so we'll get you on here shortly. All right, so I updated the capital budget because we talked about the possibility with Dan of taking out a bond for some of the excess amount of capital requests that we need for this year. So I looked into this with mostly the first, because that's where we've done most of our stuff anyways. We're not locked into doing anything with them, but it does give us a direction to go. The other option we have is going with the main bond bag. One of the problems I have with going with bond bags is that we take these out for 10 years, we can't prepay them. So if something happens and we have some good years and we want to pay down some debt, we're locked into it. So may not go that way, but we have some time to think about it between now and when these get approved. So what I did was I took the maximum amount that we could take out in a year, which is 4.5%. And I subtracted that from the total, which is $1 million, $1,842,000. So in your explanations, so 4.5% of the current value of the fund is $176,000. Four items on our capital list actually total $174,500. So I cut that back to match. Makes math easy, makes things a little easy. Those four items, the 2 public works trucks, the ambulance, and the money for the harbor expansion are not part of the bond. They would be voted on individually, just like every normal capital budget, okay? So the current rate on the difference between those, and the difference is $1,267,500. That's how much would be bonded over a period of 10 years at 3.87% interest. That would put our annual payments at $155,701, with a total borrowing cost of approximately $289,514.
Dennis, where are you getting these numbers? I don't
So
see
you look on your spreadsheets on the very last 2 pages.
Yeah.
I tried to put it all on one page, but for whatever reason, when I put them, it didn't do it. It should be shared.
Okay, I've been on that same those numbers in that shade, or there, that one right there, 155.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay? So that's where I'm at with that. Do you want me to list off what's in here? What that means? So what we have in here for the total, which is the $1,842,000, there's $400,000 for the fire department tanker truck. There's $80,000 to complete the shingling at the community center. Remember, we already have $80,000 set aside for that, which turned out not to be enough, so that's why we went back to it. There's $40,000 for a municipal grounds maintenance truck, $125,000 for a new F-550 Ford plow truck with plow and sander. There's $50,000 to fix the reseal the sand shed roof. There's $235,000 for an ambulance. There's $313,500 for the town office for a new HVAC system and to repair and replace all of the windows in this building. There's $209,000 for the wastewater treatment plant. There's $200,000 for paving. And today we added $15,000 for the Sunken Gardens repair, which we got that estimate after our last meeting. So that totals the $1,842,000.
Questions?
So my thoughts on some of this too are, I know we want to maximize the returns that we're getting on our investment account. The reason the ambulance is in here, and I said this before, and I just think it's worth repeating, is supply chain issues are causing them to be really backed up. And if we don't get in the line, we may be 3 or 4 years replacing an ambulance that I don't think will last 3 or 4 years. We can get into the queue just by buying a chassis, which will cost us about $40,000. So the remaining $195,000, $190,000, can sit in the account for the next 2 or 3 years and continue to earn us money. We're just going to appropriate the funds and it can continue to sit there. I think the same will be true with the fire truck. I don't think we'll see a delivery of that fire truck this year. I think it will probably be 2 years, and that $400,000 can sit and continue to earn us money. Rob, you're on here, I think, right? Oh.
Yes, I am.
So, I mean, that was what we talked about the other day, right? That it might take 2 years.
Yeah, I can't see it being this year. If anything, if it's like anything else, it's going to be at least 2 years, I would imagine.
But you're saying we have, especially, you're saying we have to get in line to that. It's not.
You know, if we wait another year, it might kick us out another 2 or 3 years.
And there's no such thing as lease purchase for those things.
You can do a lease purchase on them, yes. That's an option. It's not gonna get us the equipment any sooner.
Right, but
And the interest rate on the lease purchase that I got, and this went back to January, so it's gonna change, is basically the same as what we've got here. So I didn't see any advantage to splitting off 2 or 3 loans here and there if
yeah,
we're gonna pay the same interest rate. Keep them
yeah,
all.
I could, yeah, I like it clean.
I did run this plan by Dan Lake today, and explained to him what we were doing, or what I was proposing we were doing, and where this will put us. And he was pleased with it. He thought it was a good plan. It will help put us back on track to staying somewhat within our policy on withdrawal from the capital reserve. Dusty and I had talked about maybe doing more than a year's worth of work, doing 3 years or maybe even 5 years. I'm a little leery about putting the town into several $1 million worth of debt. And we do have one other project that's not on here that we need to remember that has to get done, and that is the old Ferry Road. And that bid came in at $1.2 million more than what we budgeted for it. And that money's gonna have to come from somewhere. Now, I am working on trying to find it other than tax dollars. But if we can't find it outside, we're gonna have to take it from somewhere, because that has to get done. We cannot allow that road to wash away. So I'd ask you guys to bear that in mind as you're moving forward with this, with your capital stuff tonight. But that possibility exists. We will have to take at least some of that money from somewhere.
Tom, do you have your hand raised? Okay, guess not. Pam?
So, on the Ferry Road culvert, have you gone back out to bid with that recently?
No, we
Because
haven't.
prices are
So,
starting to come back down.
so what actually is driving the cost of this substantially is the fact that the road has to stay open 24/7, that we can't just close it down. So they're essentially going to have to build the road around it so that we can keep access to Rhinell and Main Yankee. So after that, after we opened that bid, we went out to Hagar, who bid on it, but we also went out to Crooker, who took out bid documents, but never submitted a bid because they knew they were gonna be way over. And that was the reason why. It was because of the requirement that we have to keep the road open. If we could just close the road for 2 weeks, dig it up and do it, we could save a substantial amount of money. That's just not an option. Now, I have had some discussions with Senator Collins' office in the last 2 days. I did submit this to her, and I will submit it to the others as one of the earmarks. And I am pressing it really hard how important this road is in light of Yankee and right now, the fact that it's the only access to those places. So I'm hopeful that she will throw some more at this point, nothing is guaranteed. The other option that I'm also working on is Slade Moore with the Coastwise project, who was involved in some of the design of this. The infrastructure bill has a lot of money coming at NOAA, and they are funded partially through NOAA. And their priorities are to clean up some of these tidal stream crossings, not just this one, but there are, you know, hundreds and hundreds of these across the state that are in similar shape. Given its location and given its critical importance, if they get the NOAA funding, they will consider this one of their priority projects. If they get the funding, and if it gets on their priority list, they'll pay for it 100%. So that's the other angle that I'm working. But again, these are not guarantees. There's no guarantee here. So.
Kim, did you have a question?
I had thought the Ferry Road area that needed to be repaired was where the railroad crosses it?
No,
Okay.
that's state road there. I don't care.
That's why I kept thinking, because if that was it, there's another way.
So
in,
when you
so-
go into Old Ferry Road and you make the hard right, hard left, to go on to Bridge Point Road,
Yeah,
if you continue straight,
yes,
that's
it's
still Old
further
Ferry
down
Road.
there.
It's further down there.
Okay,
That part of the road is a town road.
okay, then, and I understand then that there is no other way. I kept thinking, but you can go around Birch Point Road.
Well, there actually, I won't say there's another way. There is another way. Maine Yankee years and years ago built an ash road that runs out through there. But it has sat, I mean, nothing's happened, it was never used. So we did look at it to say, well, what if we cleaned that up and could have access around there? And the cost to do that is almost as much, if not more, than stick with the original plan. So that's where we're at.
Tom, did your hand's still up? I don't know if you were still there or still had a question? Guess not. It keeps going off and on. so I don't
Yeah,
know
I'm not
he's
sure if he's
trouble.
having trouble with this. I think he's on the phone. So he might be having some trouble with it.
All right. Other questions? Ed, if you wouldn't mind,
I don't think it was too long.
it's better for the owl.
Just looking at the warrant, it looks like.
Sorry, do you mind saying your name for the people on?
Paul Brysick, Wisconsin. Looking at the warrant here, it says we are currently in debt to the tune of $1.9 million. Correct. All these capital improvements would add another $1.2 million. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So we'd end up with a debt of $3.1 million.
If we stick to the one-year plan that I proposed,
Okay, thank you.
okay?
Any other questions online? Oh, Kim?
Where are we on the school withdrawal payment? How many more do we have left?
But it matures in 2026. Let me get you the exact figures.
And Kathy, would you mind sending Kim Anderson the warrant electronically?
She
Thank
did. I got it.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, I got you, Tom. I'll read your question out loud in just a second.
So Kim, there's $801,342 left on that.
1,800.
Tom Joyce is asking, for the additional amount for the next 2 years, have you looked into getting a line of credit?
No.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things that Dan Way said he was not. And was that what he said, is that he didn't like using he didn't like the idea of using the reserve account as collateral for, so.
You haven't said why.
Yeah, he didn't say why, he just said he thought it was a bad idea.
Well, he just doesn't like leverage, period.
Yeah.
You know, that's how he's always been that way. The only reason that he's kind of changing his mind a little bit is because the inflation rate is so high and the difference in the interest rates right now. That's the only reason. Even now, even today, he doesn't like leverage.
Bill?
But you're not leveraging the whole account. You're
No.
leveraging the amount that you borrow.
Yes,
And you're still getting interest on it.
yes.
And am I correct that everything on the draft warrant is what you just went over in here?
Yes.
That matches, okay.
So in terms of the draft warrant, the way this is written is we've always voted on each capital project separately. So they are listed on here separately, so the voters will have a chance to say, no, I don't want to spend $50,000 to do the Sidney Schultz and vote that. However, each one of these has to have a financial statement with it, and that's why they're listed that way. Because they're technically listed as a separate bond, even though they will all be together on one bond.
So that's why it's so long.
So that's why it's so long. Statutorily, we have to have it on there. So the other option for that would be to put them all together on one question, and then there would only be one financial statement on there. But should that get voted down, with all of your capital stuff is voted down. And as I said, we typically allow voters to vote on them separately, so.
Okay. Other questions or discussion before we get going on voting? Jesse?
Well, I want to talk about the line of credit idea some more. And I've been puzzling over this a lot.
We feel that.
Dennis and I have been talking about it. And so I'm not sure, I've got it all on my computer, so I don't know how to show it to everyone else. But, I guess I can try to describe it. It starts with my concern about the health of our investment account. And just looking at that graph that Dan Lay showed us with the big blue area with the red line that goes down. When you look at that really closely, every time the red line goes down is when we're taking money out of that investment account. And then if you look above that, at what it does to the total account value, it really takes a hit. It's but
So the red line is actually, I believe, is showing you the original $12 million that was put in there. So every time we take money out, he's showing you that eventually, and we're almost there, you've spent the principal that was originally put in there. Right. So I think that's what that red line shows. Right. So just so everybody's aware of it.
yeah,
I mean, and I think it takes a hit, because when we take $500,000 out of it, it's gonna take a hit, because that's $500,000 that's not gaining any interest on anything.
Right.
So it's gonna naturally take that.
So if you go back and look at it and kind of assume that none was taken out, you can imagine the value just kind of declining. And when I look at this graph, what it looks to me like is we've kind of killed that effect, is we've kind of taken away this account's ability to continue to capitalize on itself because we've taken so much out. So in trying to figure out, if there's anything that we should do with that, that's when I started looking at what Dennis shared with us on this, the giant spreadsheet for capital expenses that we're going to be looking at for the next 10 years, idealized picture of the capital expenses. So I just grabbed those, and I noticed that we got a bunch of stuff
soon, the next 3 years, and then it levels out. Now, of course, that's gonna be partly because we can't predict the future, and there will be stuff that comes up later, but a lot of this stuff is sort of anticipated based on what the life of the equipment is. So if we assume that it's gonna look like the fire truck is gonna wear out in 20 years, and they've got an expense in 20 years that we have to meet. So I reconfigured the graph to see what that would look like cumulatively over 10 years. And so it comes up to about $7 million. And so what I was thinking was, could we bond that amount? Could we, or not that amount or something close to it? But basically, like looking at what we're going to be paying for over however many years out, if we can use the 4.5% draw on our investment account to pay the loan payment, then that would be the kind of the line of credit idea. And so I don't know if that's something that we can do now, but it's something I'd like to talk about because, Dan doesn't normally like credit, but he sees the value of using it now, given the inflation rates. It's almost like we could get a loan for a few $1 million and then just stick it right in our investment account and not touch it, and we get money back on that. So somehow I'd like to figure out if we could use that sort of concept. So we're, instead of just paying for this year's capital expenses, we would anticipate out how far we can pay, and then using that 4.5% yearly draw to make our loan payment. That's the idea. So I've been talking, my dad is what he does, my uncle does this. It sounds like Tom Joyce isn't so squeamish about credit. So I just thought it was worth discussion.
Sure.
You made a comment the other day that you thought that the 5-year plan would actually save us money more than the 1-year plan. Is that what you're
Yeah.
speaking to? How much do you save?
Oh, I didn't say that. I need the experts to crunch the numbers and put numbers into the calculus. This is not my field of expertise, I should say. I've been listening to people do this for many years, but I'm not, the guy to go to for advice on it. But we have a lot of that kind of knowledge and skill here in town. People who know how to do that stuff. So if we don't do it this year, I'm going to continue to talk about it anyway, because debt is just a financial tool. It's like any other. It's useful. We've got an investment account that is worth a lot, which is good for collateral. It's not, I wouldn't want to spend it, but we can collateralize some loans with it without harming. And so if we could set it up kind of how I'm envisioning here, if we use the 4.5% draw to make our loan payment every year on these capital expenses, then we can leave that investment account alone for a few years and let it get healthy, let it kind of let its value come back up. So that's the idea.
Am I correct that if we do the 4.5% draw this year and the 1-year bond, that after that, you've now lowered the estimates for what we need for capital expenses so that they're roughly within 4.5%?
Yes. Ideal, as he said, this is ideal. And I think the plan is, we've talked about this, he knows I'm on board with this. One, we just don't have time to do it this year, because crunch time is here.
To do what Dusty just said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we've got to get this warrant done tonight. But if you're using the 4.5%, and that's all being used up by your bond payment, and there are things that are going to happen on those timeframes, you're going to end up drawing money on it anyways. Now, in the long term, it still may be better, but we can't have any illusions to the fact that for 10 years we're never going to have to take anything more than the 4.5% out of there just to make the bond payment. So there is a pitfall in that.
Bill and then Pam.
On Dusty's spot, you probably can't do it today, but you do have an expert. You got Tom Joyce is the one to run it fast.
Yeah.
And maybe you can put it in next year.
In the line of credit, we probably do any time during the year.
Pam?
So what Dusty's proposing sounds good in many ways. The fly in the ointment is that you can't commit a future board of selectmen to your decisions, which is how the accounts are in the condition they're in now. Is we have a policy to take 4.5%, and in the last few years, the previous boards here have taken, they've exceeded that. So what's going to stop us from dedicating our reserve account 4.5% to making this bond payment and stop future boards from pulling more money out anyway? Because you get the right board on here and they will do that. Obviously.
I think if we were gonna do that, we would wanna have a whole package deal kind of figured out, where part of it would be setting that policy and somehow keeping it in place. I don't know if an ordinance would be the right way
The
to do
ordinance
that.
would be the only way that you could actually
That's right.
Yeah.
hold that together.
Yeah, and the reason is, again, you can't walk next board into that. And it's not just about spending more capital expenses that come up over the next 5 years and 10 years or whatever you do it, but they're also pulling money out to lower the tax rate for the year or other things like that. So, yeah, I mean, an ordinance would be the only way that you could stop the board from using more money than what the policy tells it to use.
Yeah, I had a question. I'm sure I'm wrong, but I had thought that a line of credit had a continually adjusting interest rate, that it wasn't a fixed interest. Yeah, it's like based on, again, I really don't know what I'm talking about, but my understanding was a line of credit is a certain percentage point over LIBOR, and then as LIBOR changes, so does your interest rate.
So it's an ARM.
So essentially, but not, yeah, so. That would be a problem if interest rates continue to go up and we were expecting to use our line of credit to take care of this sort of thing. We could be looking at, 8% instead of 4%.
Just clarification, I may have heard it wrong, but Dennis, did you say that in the $1,842,000, that the $174,000 for the waterfront was not in there?
It is in there.
It is in there.
It is in there, but it's not in the bond. So that will be taken out of the capital, just like it normally is. So if the voters say they don't want to do the water expansion, then we don't have to worry about removing it out of the bond, it's just gone. And that money that doesn't get withdrawn from the account. Stays there.
There's another
Questions?
question. I'd like to bring up the fact that I'd rather not even see it on warrant. We have for it, the numbers are squishy. I was for it. It's one of those things you want, and you got needs and you got wants, and it's not a need. But I was for it, but then in the presentation, which wasn't that good, I was talking to someone afterwards, I said, the only fair mentioned that we have like a waiting list for buoys and the wharf. And I was told, no, it's not a waiting list, we did a survey, and people said they wanted it. That's really squishy.
And I know there was some questions about it, that's why I didn't include it in the bond, so we can very easily take it
9-year
out.
payback. I don't want to see it on warrant, so. November warrant.
I would agree.
Okay.
I agree too.
Any other discussion or questions on any of capital items? Chris?
Chris Reed, Wisconsin. I just have a question on what is just speaking on here, the waterfront project. Bill Sutter submitted a letter that outlined what you can actually charge for mooring fees and stuff like that. And I wondered, I haven't heard any discussion on that. Is that something that would affect the payback time on it?
I believe so, but we're also at next week's meeting, is that still the plan? We'll be talking about all of the harbor fees next week at our regular meeting, since that's not something we have to put on the warrant, we just need to set them, but we'll be having discussion about that next week, so in theory, yes, it would impact their estimates. Other questions or discussion? Okay. So,
May I just go on record?
Yeah.
I don't see anything squishy about the pier expansion plan, except for the fees and how they might change and how that would adjust what we do. But basically, it's a solid plan. Emily Rabb really worked it out. And it's gonna pay for itself. So, I mean, it will start paying for itself as soon as it's built. It's a good plan. It's not just a pie in the sky. I've been a liaison for the waterfront committee for how long, Dick? 6 months. And not only was this closely addressed every meeting, but they actually explained it to me pretty well. But I always have Dick on hand in case I don't remember something. I would invite you to ask questions of the resident waterfront committee expert if you've got something. If you presented that in a business situation, saying that's a good idea, go back and firm it up,
You're talking about the fees?
talk about the whole project.
all right, how would you like us to put these on the warrant in terms of language? Can we say Article 46 as written, or?
Sure.
Just that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bill, I have recorded the budget committee's recommendation based on my last meeting, that's 6-0 on all of these, except for the items that we went through the last meeting. Now, whether you guys want to re-vote on this stuff tonight or not is, I guess, up to you, but.
Kim?
I was under the impression that the vote that we have. Okay, I know when I was leaving, I rolled down my window and I said to Bill, that vote was on whether or not something goes on the warrant, not whether or not we were.
You don't make that decision, so.
No, I know.
You're just making it-
That was your vote.
Right,
And typically, we would not be voting yay or nay for that line item underneath until after this was in our hand, and this is the first time it's in our hands.
that's technically how the ordinance is written. So you can vote on them tonight after the select board votes on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
I thought you were taking care of the ones that we already had said, yes, these are on the warrant now. But if,
That was
That
that was
doesn't-
my impression.
okay, then that's up to you guys.
Yeah, I think it was on the warrant, but not whether we're for or against.
So then those can be updated,
We've had so many.
like whatever you're.
Dusty on
So we started with Article 1?
No, we gotta put the capital ones on first.
Okay.
So 46.
I move
Around
to
46.
accept Article 46 as written.
Second. Moved and seconded, any further discussion? Hearing none, and Kim, I'll do a vote in here and then call on you. All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0. Okay,
I move Article 47 as written.
Second,
moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
I move Article 48 as written.
Second,
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
I move Article 49 as written.
second,
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Kim?
Sorry. Getting ahead of myself.
I move Article 50 as written.
I second,
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
Let's see, the next one's for you. I move Article 51 as written.
I second,
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 52 as written.
I second,
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
Let's see. I move Article 53 as written.
I second,
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
0.
I move Article 54 paving projects as written.
I second,
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
I move Article 55 as written.
and I second.
Any questions or discussion?
Oh, that was, I was voting. no.
Simon says.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Please, sorry. Article 56, there it is, as written.
I second,
Any questions or discussion?
I so second as well.
Okay. Enthusiastically seconded.
I am enthusiastic.
All of those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
Debt service?
We have to put the rest of this on here, right?
That service is wrong stuff, so,
Right, but do we still have to vote to put it on here?
yes,
Okay.
Just
Can
the- just
we,
the-
can we do all together?
just the debt service, just the debt service. The rest of the stuff is housekeeping stuff.
Okay.
I move for the debt services articles 57 through 62, is that correct?
Yeah. I think we're okay.
I move articles 57 through 62 for debt service as written.
I second,
Any questions, discussion? All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
All right. And then do we need to do anything?
Just approve it, that's all.
Okay, as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any questions on the ordinances that are on here? So on the very beginning, very first page, is the question about allowing people to retrospectively join main PERS, which we had that discussion several weeks ago, if not months ago, to allow that to be on the warrant and let the voters decide. So for anybody that doesn't know, what that means is if you're employed by the town currently, you have to make the decision as to whether or not you want to join the main public employees retirement system the day you get hired. When you make that decision is permanent. So if for some reason you don't want to join when you get hired, but your life circumstances change 6 years from now, you don't have the option of joining Maine State Retirement. It's done. With this, you then do have the choice of at some later date joining Maine State Retirement. It doesn't mean that we have to pay back all the years that you weren't in it. It just starts from that point forward. But because the town actually voted on this before to join the state retirement, it does require the town to vote to allow people to join retrospectively. Any questions on that? Ordinance question on permit fees, we discussed that, is to, taking the current building permit fee, I'm sorry,
63.
yeah, 63. We had this discussion back along, that we would take that out of the ordinance so that the select board set the building permit fees like they do most all over the town. So that just takes all that other language out and just adds that one simple sentence. The shoreline zoning ordinance, and we did have this discussion, and it might have even been with the previous board, even before you guys were happened. In 2019, on the ballot, that never seems to go away. The shoreline zoning ordinance was broke off from other zoning ordinances, and there was a part of it that got left out, this appendix B. And it is required by Maine DEP. The original shoreline zoning ordinance that they approved included this in there. And for whatever reason, when the ordinance went out, it got left off. So we just need to put that language in the shoreline zoning ordinance. It was in the ordinance before. It's no different than it was before, but. So those are the three ordinances for this year. I would also note that the interest we're charging on taxes this year is set at 4%. That was set by the state. They normally allow us to charge 2% over, but they said no this year, so we're capped out at 4%.
I need to vote on the whole warrant.
So you just need to vote on, we need to vote on the budget stuff so that we can get a recommendation of who's favor and who's against. And once you've done that, then you just need to approve the entire warrant.
So we started with Article 6, the revenues.
Yeah. We start with Article 6 because there was a recommendation. No, I'm sorry, Article 7. Yeah, yeah, no, it's Article 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Any question?
Quick question, Article 4. I noticed there's no figure there. Do we have any idea what that really is going to cost? Or do we put it on there?
We don't put it on there. I just love this question.
They've never put it on. My understanding from Terry is, and I haven't heard anything different from her in the last week or so, the school budget from on the municipal side was not going up. That it was going to be at least the same, if not at least the same.
I guess my question really is, shouldn't it be on the budget so that people understand what they're voting for?
I've asked that question since I was on the school board when I was 18, and this is just the way it's done.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
we've got-
when the Wiscasset went into the RSU, the state law for the RSU wrote this question. This is the only question you're allowed to put on for a school. And it's asking you if you are approving the amount that was approved at the last school meeting.
And I understand those rules with the RSU, but we are not in the RSU. This is the department of the town now. And I would expect
It's
that.
still the question
But
given by law.
I think John O'Connell, I think this question came up when John was town manager. And I think they looked into that, and the advice of the attorneys was that this was how it had to be worded.
Okay. Do we have any idea what the number is? That's for reference purposes.
No, I can't.
No, that's okay.
It's about $5.9 million.
5.9.
Yeah.
I would also like to know, as a citizen, it always seems to be a real mystery as to when this is voted on. And
When the school budget.
yes, and I don't know, I mean, I lived here for several years before I even knew that there was this little meeting that happened with maybe a dozen people passing $5 million worth of budget.
Question on the school.
Sarah.
So just the wording on the ballot for the school.
That's dictated by state statute.
Yeah, and that's what we said.
Is that what you're
No
gonna say?
number can go on the ballot.
No number can even. go.
No, but I do have to post the results of the meeting that the school has, or the town meeting that we have, that determines the cost centers. There's a meeting that usually not many people go to.
Yeah, which is, is there some requirement in posting in advance of that vote that they take on the school board? Because people don't know about it.
We advertise it
Where?
in the paper.
Okay, in the public notice section? I would,
And the school pretty much, decides when that meeting's gonna be, even
Right.
though it's officially a selectmen's meeting
right.
or town meeting.
I would appeal to any of the press that is listening to put that in the newspaper on some page a little more prominent than just.
I agree with you.
Kim Anderson?
Yeah, so the two-step budget process is something that we choose to do as voters every year. That happens at that school budget meeting. The superintendent will come before the select board and get permission to have that budget meeting. This happens every year. So it's part of that record, and then it is in the newspaper and on the school website and in the school newsletters. No one usually attends that meeting except the school board and maybe some school employees who live in town. It's usually really underattended. So that would be great if people would go.
Yeah, I've
And
never
then
been informed
the
of it.
amount, excuse me, Sharon, the amount that is approved at that meeting is then the one that we vote on with the warrant, and it'll be printed on a little separate piece of paper. It tells you the amount that was approved so that the voters can see that amount. If you want to change that two-step process, I recommend that you go to that meeting because it does come up every year. It's something that they elect to do and the town votes on it at that town meeting.
Thank you.
Budget meetings and school budget meetings in most towns are really poorly attended. Few people pay any attention to it.
Eric?
And just as a matter of interest, when is that meeting scheduled? I think it's already been scheduled.
Carrie hasn't been in front of us yet. She will come.
I think I saw a note about it, is why I'm asking.
Like she comes to the select board and then gets permission to hold that town meeting. And it's all governed by dates. So there's a certain amount of time. So it's going to be coming up, I would say any day. I don't know exactly what day. Probably Linda Perry knows when her cutoff is.
Okay, thank you.
Have to hold that meeting 30 days prior to the actual referendum vote. They can't have the meeting any sooner than 30 days. But 30 days within
So-
our vote.
That's what I thought. So it's in May. That's
Correct.
yes.
But sometimes they don't have it until a week before we actually vote, which disenfranchises absentee voters, but we don't have any control over when they have that meeting.
You can't vote on that by absentee. You have to do that in person.
Yes, you can.
You can.
You can, if they have had the meeting. If they have had the town meeting, then you can vote on that article. It's on a separate ballot for that purpose, because sometimes they don't have that meeting until a week before the actual vote. So people that have voted absentee may not get the chance, because we can't accept those ballots back until that meeting is held.
That seems insane.
It is, but it's state statute, and I've always asked them to have the meeting as soon as they can within that 30 days. And I've not heard from them yet as to when they're gonna be having that meeting, that town meeting.
Okay.
Sometimes it is a week before, but
You have a question for Lynn?
Question for Linda. Do I might understand the right, the state statutes prevent us from putting the number on our ballot?
correct.
And is there a separate then number that appears when we go vote that shows what a separate piece of paper that shows what that number is?
After they have the meeting, I usually have to request it from them. It's basically everything they voted on, all those cost articles, every one of them. Then all the school board signs off on that final number. It does give a list of the cost centers. they give a copy of that to me and it has to be posted at the polls. So,
So you at least get the three in the polls.
correct.
So
Thank
if,
you.
yeah, if the school has to come to the select board to set that date, can the select board push that it is within a time frame that would enable people to vote absentee?
I would hope they would be open to that.
I hope they'd be open to it. You can suggest it certainly, but as Linda just told you, the state law gives them that window of time that they can do it whenever they please within that window. The Board of Selectmen do not mandate what
But
the,
they still have to come to you to set a date, for you give them approval.
Which I don't remember happening.
I was at one meeting when it happened, but it wasn't last year.
it never did it any of the years that I was on the board previous to this. So I never saw them come to the board for that.
Right, sounds like we need to clarify.
Eight selectmen years, I never.
I was at one that it did happen. It was rather contentious.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a thing that happens. And it would have started, I guess, with the RSU, but we've been doing the two-step budget process since we withdrew from the RSU. And every year at that region, well, it used to be called the regional budget meeting, now it's just called the town school budget meeting. They do vote to continue with the two-step process.
Right. So we need to do you want us to do the recommendations first and then vote for the whole thing?
Yes.
That two-step process you're talking about, we vote on that once every 3 years.
That's right. I knew there was some, I kept sitting here thinking,
It will be
I've
an
seen that
article.
on a warrant, so.
Yeah, I think it's next year, I think, that we vote on that, and the way it's worded is, you're basically asking, do you want to eliminate that meeting and have everything on a ballot? And, which it could be its own ballot, and all those cost centers are broken out, not just one question. So when that, keep an eye out, I think it's next
I
year,
think it is next year, yeah.
that question will be on the school ballot, it'll be question 2, I believe, usually, so.
So that's why she hasn't come before you last year, because we'd already settled that issue.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm glad you stayed tonight, because I was racking my brain, it's like, you know, there's a reason why we haven't seen her.
Okay, that makes more sense. Is it possible, just because there are so many of these, if folks could say ahead of time that they're not going to vote in favor, so that we could take a bunch of them at once? Is that possible, or do we just want to go one by one?
I think it would take this much time to poll that this.
All right. So let's get going.
Article 7?
Yeah.
Moved as written. Unless Terry wants to take over moving and I'll second.
No, I like the call and response summary.
You got it. You got it. You got it.
Our recommendation.
Yes,
This is the recommendation.
yes, this is for
Yes.
recommendations, they're already on the warrant.
And we're starting with
7.
I'm okay with those. I went through and looked. So there was nothing except for the ones that have zeros all the way across that I
Yeah.
had.
Well, and remember, there was those few that we didn't do
Yeah,
until the
right.
last one, so.
Right.
But I mean, if the budget committee, if you want to do your vote and then let the budget committee vote on theirs at the same time, that might, you guys want to do that rather than have another separate meeting?
We can go back to Article 46 too. when we got this.
What's 46?
Okay, that was the start of the capital,
Oh,
Capital.
but we don't have to stay for them to finish their meeting.
they just need to vote to what they're recommending. All right, so we're gonna do all at the same time, is that what we're doing?
Does it make sense? No?
we're going article by article, and then we're
And then we're gonna move the whole warrant.
All right, so we'll do 7, then you do 7, and we'll do 8, and you, all right,
Does that make sense? No? You want to do it another way?
yes, I like that.
all right, here we go.
It's been moved and seconded.
Any questions, Article 7, or no, all right. All those in favor of recommending Article 7? Kim,
Yes.
You want me
Board of
to?
Select, Board of Budget Committee, in favor of Article 7.
Anna and Tom?
Can we get
Sharon.
a?
And Sharon?
Sharon, aye.
Hey,
Anna?
Sarah, I don't think Tom and I have a copy of the warrant.
Yeah, we don't have it.
Okay.
Town office
Hold on.
administration.
Kathy, can you email, do you have Tom and do you have their emails? Okay, you guys will have to wait then and do it afterwards, and we'll get that together.
Okay.
Right.
Article 8, I move Article 8 as written, airport.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
feel free to interrupt me if you have a further question or discussion, but I'm gonna keep moving.
Keep moving. I move Article 9 as animal control as written.
Second. All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 10 for the Office of Assessment as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 11 on municipal boards and committees as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 12 on celebrations as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 13 on cemeteries as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 14, town clerk, excise tax collector, registrar as written.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
she's walking to her meeting.
I move I move Article 15 for the code enforcement as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 16 contingency as written.
all those in. All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
Article 17 contractual services as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 18 office of elections as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 19 emergency medical services as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 20 office of finance tax collector as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim, Kathy's asking me
Yes.
to. Oh, they're all 5-0 so far, Kathy.
I move Article 21 fire department as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 22 general assistance as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 23 municipal building maintenance and operations as written.
A second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 24 municipal insurances as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 25 health insurance reserve account as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 26 parks and recreation as written.
Under letter B, you could add a second.
She doesn't realize it's that loud.
No, she does. Kim, can you use the thumbs up button or something? Or can I have her raise her hand?
She,
Those are
You're supposed to do it verbally.
All right, 26, all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
against? Okay, so that's 4-1 for Article 26.
Excuse me. I move
She just
Article,
What?
He voted against it.
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I move Article 27, planning services as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 28, police department as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article number 29, police department school resource officer as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
Then we added,
against? 4-1.
I move Article 30, public utilities as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
and 4,
5-0.
I move Article 31, public works department as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 32, office of selectmen.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
No.
Is that with the raisin?
No.
no, we took it out.
No, we
She
took it out.
doesn't want us to get paid at all.
We took it out.
Oh.
4-1.
I move Article 33, senior center as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 34, shellfish conservation as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 35, transfer station as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
I move Article 36, wastewater fund, wastewater treatment plant as written.
Second.
all those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 37, waterfront and harbors as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I can't lose this one.
I move Article 38, Wiscasset Public Libraries.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
against? Abstain? 4-0-1.
I move Article 39, healthy kids as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 40, new hope for women as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 41, help yourself food pantry and the Church of the Nazarene outreach food pantry as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 42, American Legion Flag Project as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 43, Life Flight of Maine as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 44, Waldo Community Action Partners.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim,
Yes.
5-0.
And I move Article 45, Spectrum Generations as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
That's the one.
No,
Nope,
keep
you gotta
on
do-
going.
You gotta do the
We
capital.
gotta do.
Oh, you gotta vote too? Didn't you just do that?
If you guys are in agreement that you wanna go along with it,
We already did this.
you voted to put it on the warrant.
Ah, okay,
Can we take them as one?
as one, since we've already
I don't think
considered
so.
each
I'm
item.
seeing a shaking head, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm,
I move Article 46, Public Works Plow Truck, as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
I move Article 47, new ambulance, as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
Oh, sorry. I move Article 48, Harbor Expansion Project, as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
Opposed? 4-1.
I move Article 49, Public Works Maintenance Truck, as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 50, Fire Department Tanker Truck, as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 51, Capital Roofing Project for the Community Center, as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
Excuse me, I move Article 52, no, that's right. Article 52, Capital Roofing Project for the Sand Salt Shed, as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 53, Capital Improvements for the Municipal Building, as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 54, Municipal Paving Projects, please very much, as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 55, Capital Improvements and Repairs to the wastewater treatment plant, as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
I move Article 56, Capital Improvements and Repairs to the municipally owned sunken garden, as written.
I enthusiastically second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0.
Debt service.
And I move Article number 57.
So,
I don't see an article number, oh, there it is, sorry. I move Article 57, debt service. Oh, we can do the whole thing, right?
That's the only one that has a recommendation on it, so it's just that one.
Oh, okay. I move Article 57, debt service, as written.
I second.
All those in favor? Kim?
Oh, I see.
Yes.
5-0. Is that all done? Right?
No recommendation on that.
All right.
Can we vote to approve the warrant, adopt the warrant without the budgetary numbers on? it?
Yep, because actually the way the ordinance is written, they're presented with the warrant. to vote on.
Completed.
Yes.
I move the town warrant as.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Hmm.
All those in favor? Kim?
Yes.
5-0. We are approved.
Wow.
Now what do we do?
Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath, go have a drink, and we have to look forward to next year already.
Did you have a question, sir?
I'm gonna go email those three budget committee members there, so they can.
My name is Richard Forrest. Yes, sir. On Article 48, the harbor expansion. On several of your articles here, it says that a certain amount of anticipated revenue is available to offset the costs. I wonder if it would not be wise to put that in here. This harbor expansion means that we are intending to install 14 slips, be rented annually. And this 174,000 is half the cost because we're getting a grant. And we expect the payback by the rental of these slips to pay for this in approximately 6 years. So this is rather a unique capital project in that there's a payback. And we think that's important for people to be aware of.
I would like Dennis here to,
Yeah, to write it in the.
well, I'd like to ask if that's something we do for capital projects,
Yeah, and I hope it is.
because I don't know the answer to that, so.
Is he coming?
He's sending the budget, the other two budget committee members. Yeah.
So, but there would not be any revenue on that this year or even next year. I mean, you're talking about revenue that would start coming in 3 or 4 years from now.
That's true.
I mean,
Because
that's
these
not
are based on,
this
next year's
this year,
revenue.
Yeah, these are based on, the numbers for revenue in here are based on last year's numbers. But I don't know how you could project revenue in a way that you would hard write that into the
Because
warrant
we
for
intend to-
something that's not even gonna be built until 2.5 to 3 years from now.
We can anticipate it, we intend to rent them out. That's a pretty good fee.
Right, but
They
the
won't know
revenue,
that long.
right, but the revenues in this are what we're projecting for this coming fiscal year, not for what's gonna come in 2024, 2025.
The question
This has
is,
to be voted on this year.
yeah, just, all right, just a second. The question is, since there are mentions of revenues on some of the other articles, would that be something to put on Article 48 on the harbor expansion project? My question is, do we ever do that for capital? The other question is,
We've never done it for capital before.
Well, we recall, we discussed that we would have a payback in about 6 years.
Yeah, and I think this is a discussion that you need to have in your public hearing, when we have a public meeting on the warrant. That will be the time that people can ask questions, and you can answer that and let them know that.
So the time has passed for this one?
You just approved this morning, so
Right. No,
it's too late
I'm
now.
just getting the word out there, saying the time has passed.
but
for
also
this
it is the case that it's not revenue for this year, whereas that's what all of these are.
If that's the real answer to the question. Right, got it.
That's, I'm not trying to insult anybody, I'm just saying, it's not apples to apples.
I think that's a good answer. I mean, there's no revenue in it. What's in here now is expected revenue against that budget for that year. Once this passes and it gets on there, then the waterfront committee, the waterfront budget from here on out will have those increased revenues in it. Like it does now. It will reflect that going forward. But your job as a waterfront committee between now and June 15th is to let people know,
Yes.
this is where the revenue, there's gonna be revenue that's gonna help offset that. And as I said, we'll have a public hearing on this in May, and that'll be another chance for people to get up and say, you know, this will pay for itself at some point somehow. Okay?
So, and I I would just add to that, that it would probably be a good idea for the waterfront committee to write a letter to the editor or write an article that gets put into the newspapers that explains all of this so people can hear it. Because people do read the local letters to the editor and they read the local news. So there's nothing that stops the waterfront committee from writing that article for the newspaper and giving Lincoln County News, the Bath Brunswick Times Record and Wiscasset newspaper, send it off and get them to put it in the paper. Yeah, I mean, get the word out. Yeah.
Anna and Tom and Sharon, you guys should have a warrant in your email. It's from Kathy's email address, admin. That was Wiscasset, it's not from me.
I don't have anything yet. She just asked
I'm looking.
that question.
I'm in the same boat as Tom.
As far as selectmen go, your meeting's over, you can adjourn.
I just got it, actually, dated, it just was sent a minute ago. Haven't had a chance to look at it.
We were sending it out. I mean, as far as budget stuff goes, it's not a whole lot different than what you already know is on there, so.
Yeah, I think it's just the wording of the articles. I still don't have it.
I just got it. I just
Hold
got
on.
it.
Hold on a second, guys.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
Terry was napping.
You know. All those
I was
in favor?
engrossed. I'm so sorry.
We are adjourned at 6:51. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
We'll do it next time. And it's supposed to be dedicated.
So Tom, Kathy, neither one of you still have it as of yet?
I just got it.
Okay.
I don't have it yet, but I'm refreshing email looking for it.
Good night, everyone.
That's where all Kathy's emails go when she sends it to me.
Yeah,
So you're gonna.
Well, budget committee's gonna stay on. And you guys
okay.
leave or
You'll miss it,
or
right?
sit around or do
How
whatever.
can you miss us if we don't go away?
So the Parks and Rec budget, planning budget, community organizations. And then, I don't know why, but cemeteries. Okay. Tom, did you get
Okay,
everything?
I have it.
You ready?
Yep, I got it.
All right.
Chris, you guys,
The budget committee is gonna continue to meet, so if I could ask you just to keep the sound down, please.
All right, Article 26. Does someone want to move it?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Made and seconded. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the Park and Recreation Department as written? All those in favor?
Aye.
Do you want me to call out there?
Please.
Okay, Sharon, sorry, you have to say your name, you have to say yes, Sharon? Saying yes, okay, Anna?
Yes.
Yes.
7-0.
no,
I'm a no. You're a no, I'm sorry.
6-1.
6-1.
Article 27. Vote to move.
So moved. For Article 27.
Second.
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 Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon? She's saying yes.
7 yes. Article 28. Your motion?
I moved.
So moved.
Article 28. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon? Saying yes.
7-0. Article 29. Police Department School Resource Officer. Motion?
I move, make a motion that we accept, vote on Article 29 for the police department.
Second.
resource officer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon? That's a yes, okay.
That's 5-2. 5-2. Article 30, Public Utilities. Do I hear a motion?
Article 30, public utilities.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon? Yes.
7-0. Article 31, Public Works. Do I hear a motion?
I move the Article 31, public works.
Second. Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
7-0.
There we go, now we got you.
Article 32, Office of Selection. Do I hear a motion?
I move the Article 32, office selection. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
7-0. Article 30, Article 33, Senior Center. Do I hear a motion?
I move the Article 33 for the senior center. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
7-0. Article 34, Shellfish Conservation.
I move Article 34, shellfish conservation. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
7-0. Article 35, Transfer Station.
I move the Article 35 for the transfer station. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
7-0. Article 36, Enterprise Fund Wastewater Treatment Plant.
I move Article 36 for the enterprise fund wastewater treatment plant. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Yes.
7-0. Waterfront and Harbors.
I move Article 37 for the waterfront and harbors. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Those against? 6-1. Article 38, Wiscasset Public Library.
I know, but, oh, that is another page, sorry. Oh, right, I move Article 38 was passed by the library.
Second,
Second.
made and seconded, all those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
7-0.
One abstention, I don't think I can.
You're on the board of trustees.
No, I'm not on the board of trustees, I'm a member of the Friends of the Wisconsin
That
Library.
doesn't count.
You got
I-
a 7-0 vote then. Aye.
Because you're not getting any,
You're not being paid.
Yeah,
No,
from-
that's
yeah,
for sure.
just-
No, I'm not.
No, that's,
it's like getting to the Salvation Army. Article 39, we hear a motion,
Move Article 39 for healthy kids.
we hear a second. Made and
Second.
seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon. Sharon?
looks like she's frozen.
Oh, she frozen? I think she's frozen.
Have her hold up her frozen picture too.
Okay, Oh, there she is. Oh,
Whoop, there she goes.
oh. There we go.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Just.
Always flowing.
Inter-
Article 40, New Hope for Women.
I move Article 40, New Hope for Women. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon? She's smiling at us. Sharon, if you can hear me, try turning your video off, see if that helps with the connection.
Internet issues.
We can't hear you.
That was a yes. New Hope for Women.
7-0.
It's the internet.
The suggestion was maybe you turn your camera off, it would help with the connection a little
I
bit.
can do that. Yep, I
Okay,
can.
Great.
Article 41, Food Pantry Church of the Nazarene.
I move Article 41, Help Yourself Food Pantry and Church of the Nazarene Outreach. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
7-0. Article 42, American Legion Flag Project.
I move Article 42, the American Legion Flag Project. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
7-0. Article 43, Life Flight of Maine.
I move Article 43, the Life Flight of Maine, Life Flight of Maine. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Opposed? Abstained?
Oh, no, I voted yes.
Okay, 7-0.
44.
44, Waldo Community Action Partners.
I move Article 44 for the Waldo Community Action Partners. Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
7-0. Article 45, Spectrum Generations.
I move Article 45, Spectrum Generation. Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
7-0. Capital Improvements, Article 46, Public Works Plow Truck. Motion,
I move Article 46 for the purchase of a public works plow truck. Second.
made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
7-0. Article 47, new ambulance.
I move Article 47 for the purchase of a new ambulance. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
7-0. Article 48, harbor expansion project.
I move Article 48 for the harbor expansion project. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
no,
Anna,
No.
Sharon,
no,
7, 0-0-7. Article 49, public works maintenance truck.
I move Article 49 for the purchase of a public works maintenance truck. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
7-0. Article 50, fire department tanker truck.
I move Article 50 for the acquisition of the fire department tanker truck.
I second,
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
7-0. Article 51, capital roofing project for community center. Motion,
I move Article 51 for the capital roofing project for the community center. Second.
made and seconded. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
7-0. Article 52, capital roofing project, sand salt shed. Their motion,
I move Article 52 to approve the capital roofing project for the sand and salt shed. Second.
motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
7-0. Article 53, capital improvements for municipal building.
I move Article 53, capital improvements for the municipal building. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
7-0. Article 54, municipal paving projects.
I move Article 54 for municipal paving project. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
how does your cat vote, Anna?
He says yes.
Her cat.
Did you vote yes? 7-0.
I move Article 55 to approve the capital improvements and repairs to the wastewater plant. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
7-0. Article 56. Improvements and repairs in history-owned sunken gardens.
I move Article 56 for capital improvements and repairs to the sunken garden. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
yes,
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
7-0. Debt service, no, Article 57.
I move Article 57 for debt service. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
7-0. Article, no, we don't have that.
I'm curious, what happened to articles, the first 20 articles?
there,
Are you guys?
We already voted on those.
they said they're fine.
You're fine with what
We
you
had
have?
already
So
done.
those were all 6-0, because there was only 6 of you the last one.
Yeah,
Okay.
previous meeting.
Okay,
Kathy,
Well, there were some articles that they voted on at the previous meeting that they voted on again, so. I'm just saying that when I was going through this, they had already voted on. Where did you start on 26? Yeah, so I drew a line in there, but.
Want to start, from the
Actually,
beginning?
you guys actually voted 6-0 on articles 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So should we take your 7-0 vote when they vote on them again?
well, they weren't actually voting on the warrant then, because they didn't have the warrant then.
Right.
They
You
thought
didn't
they
have
were
it.
voting to put them on the warrant, which isn't something they do.
And the same with the Caltrans for the first 25 articles.
So I think you need to go through them. Just-
Okay, first one,
well, 7, starting at 7.
starting at 7. All right, Article 7. Town office administration operations. Motion?
I move Article 7, town office administration operations.
Second. Have a second.
Second.
Come on, guys, I'm gonna get paid.
Okay, first, made and seconded, all those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you.
Article 8, airport.
I'll move the airport article. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
7-0.
Article 9, animal control. Second.
All those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
7-0. Article 10, office of assessment.
I move Article 10, office of assessment. Second.
Seconded, all those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
7-0. Article 11, municipal boards and committees.
I move Article 11 for municipal boards and committees. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
7-0. Article 12, celebrations.
I move Article 12 for celebrations. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
7-0. Article 13, cemetery.
I move Article 13, cemeteries. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
7-0. Article 14, town clerk excise tax collector / registrar.
Article 14 for the town clerk, excise tax collector, and registrar. Second.
All made and seconded, all those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
7-0. Article 15, code enforcement.
I move Article 15 for code enforcement. Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
7-0. Article 16, contingency.
I move Article 16 for the contingency. Second.
All made, Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
7-0. Article 17, contractual services.
I move Article 17 for contractual services. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
7-0. Article 18, office of elections.
I move Article 18 for Office of Elections. Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
7-0. Article 19, emergency medical services.
I move Article 19 for emergency medical services. Second.
A
Made and
second.
seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
7-0. Article 20, office of finance tax collector.
I move Article 20 for the Office of Finance / Tax Collector. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
7-0. Article 21, fire department.
I move Article 21 for the Fire Department. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
All 7-0, all passes. General assistance, Article 22.
I move Article 22 for General Assistance. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
0. Article 23, municipal building maintenance / operations.
I move Article 23 for Municipal Building Maintenance and Operations. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
7-0. Article 24, municipal insurances.
I move Article 24 for municipal insurances. Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
7-0. Article 25, health insurance reserve account.
I move Article 25 for the Health Insurance Reserve Account. Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Tom,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
7-0. Article 26, parks and recreation department.
I think we did that.
We did that one.
All right, I'm getting zippy here. We done? I'll entertain a motion for the home.
So moved.
Second, made and seconded. All those in favor?
I'm at home, but yeah.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen online, very much for everything that you did this year. Appreciate your help. Tom, you can be expecting to hear from Dusty and I, probably right off the bat, just to get started on next year's stuff.
And Anna,
Sounds
I'm
good.
glad you can talk again.
Thank you, Dennis.